Hello and welcome to Salt and Light Canning. I'm Jessica and this is my kitchen. I hope you had the most wonderful new year and that you are so very blessed. I'm very excited. I'm going to be canning some ham broth today from the ham bones that we had from Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I had just put them in the freezer. So I'm going to be starting broth today, and then we'll finish up by canning it probably tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get some vegetables and some seasoning in the pot and some bones in the pot, and then I will top them off with filtered water and then set them on to simmer at probably around 250 for at least 24 hours. Okay, I love making broth. It's one of my favorite things. I use it in a lot of my cooking, but it's one of my favorite things to can and to have on the shelf. So I'm just gonna start by getting my vegetables roughly cut up a little bit. These just add some flavor to your broth. You do not have to add veggies to your broth at all. You can just do bones and water and call it good. I just like the flavor that the vegetables add. And by all means, if you are just saving veggie scraps in your freezer for the purpose of making broth, then please do that. And use whatever you have and whatever you enjoy using. I'm using some carrots, some celery, and some onion. That's what I have, and that's what I like with ham. So very blessed. It's January, getting started with the year. Just so excited for what God has to come, and so thankful for last year and everything that He did. But anyway, I'm going to get these all cut up and put in these pans. And then I'll get my bones out of the sink because I had them in there to defrost. Right, I have my vegetables in the pot. And yes, I just leave the skins and everything on my onions. It gives a very rich color to your broth. You don't have to. Okay, you can skin everything. Please do what makes you comfortable, what makes you happy, okay? So I'm going to get my bones in the pot. Now these are just ham bones that we had from meals through the year. And when you have bones, save them because you can make delicious broth to turn into soup or turn into gravy or to turn into anything else. Since my bones are in the pot, I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. Not a lot, just a little bit. Teaspoon and a half of peppercorns. Also going to add a couple of bay leaves, like 5 or 6. I'm going to add just a splash of vinegar. What the vinegar does is it helps to break down the bones and the flavor in the bones and to make your broth. So just need a little bit of acid to help to break down the collagen and things in the bones so that it gets into your broth and makes it delicious. So now that I have my 2 roasting pans full of vegetables and seasoning and bones, I'm going to put them in my roasters and I'm going to cover them with filtered water and turn the roasters on to probably 225, 250 and just let them slow cook for at least 24 hours. It takes at least 24 hours to make a good bone broth. But anyways, so tomorrow night when I get home, I will filter this and can it, and I'll bring you back for that part. We're back. It's the next day. I'm home from work and we are jarring our beautiful ham broth. Now what I do is really simple. I put my broth in a pitcher and I just strain it with this little strainer. I don't get all complicated with how to filter broth. If you would like all the fat and everything out of your broth, there are things that you can buy to help separate the fat, or you can use cheesecloth or whatever you want to use is fine. I don't have a problem with the fat. lends a lot of flavor to your dishes. So I don't worry about it. But if you worry about it, it's okay. There's ways to get rid of it. Anyway, I'm just gonna pour my broth through this strainer until my pitcher is full. And then I'm going to pour my broth in my jars. And this is just beautiful and delicious. And we're very blessed to have it on the pantry shelves. God is just so good to us. So thankful. Get a lid, line it up, and a ring, just 2 finger tight. Then I fill my next jar. You can use wide mouth or regular mouth jars, and you can use pint jars or quart jars. It's really all your preference. I am using regular mouth quart jars, and I'm filling to about 1 inch of headspace. There's no need to debubble because this is all liquid. If there was chunky bits in there, then I would debubble, but there's not. So, and I always clean the rims of my jars with a little vinegar, especially when I'm canning something that's fatty, because you want to make sure that you don't have any oily residue on the rims of your jars to interfere with the seal. And just 2 finger tight. I'm going to keep filling jars, and I'll be back when I'm doing something else. So my canner is full. I have 7 quarts of delicious and just beautiful ham stock in here, and I'm going to get the lid on and get this started. This is my 16 quart Presto pressure canner, or I mean, yes, 16 quart Presto pressure canner. I really do love this little canner for when I'm just doing quarts anyway, because in the 23 quart Presto pressure canner, I can't double stack, and this takes less power and less gas to heat and get the canner going. So please check in the description. There's a link to my Amazon storefront, and you'll find this canner in that link. I'm going to bring this up to temperature, and we're going to let it vent right out here out of this little vent hole. And we're going to let it vent for 10 minutes. Then I will put my weight on, and when my gauge comes up to 15 pounds of pressure, because that's what I need to can at for my altitude, we're going to process these jars for 25 minutes. And then we will turn it off and let it come down from pressure naturally, and I'll be back when I'm taking them out of the canner. They're already popping. So my timer went off and turned everything off, and I just let it come off of pressure slowly on its own. Never do anything to rush your pressure canner. It does bad things. Just don't do it. No matter how tempted you are, don't do it. And then I took the weight off and waited a couple of minutes when it was all off of pressure, and then I opened the lid and just let it sit there, letting a little bit of air in for a couple of minutes. And now I have sat here with the lid off for a couple of minutes, and they're being very noisy tonight. They're busy jars, but we're going to take them out. Just love it. So beautiful. Out of those leftover ham bones, we got 29 just beautiful quarts of ham broth that I'm very excited to have and be able to use in other dishes. Save your bones, okay? You have nothing to lose by saving your bones and making broth. Especially like if you go to the store and buy a quart of broth, it's at least $2. Goodness. Anyways, let me know what you're doing for Jar It Up January, how you're building your pantry, all the wonderful things that you're doing. I love hearing from you. Check out the links below in the description. If you've never canned before, don't be afraid to try, okay? Just don't be afraid to try. Be so blessed. Know that you're loved, and be a blessing to someone else. I'll see you in the next video.